free range kids that weekend as a blog to say, look, I believe in safety.
I'm mad you said a kid. She would have lost me at 2. How was she alive? This is free range versus strict parents. Is spanking your kids ever okay? Middle ground. This is on Jubilee's channel. I stand in I'm a gentler parent, and I say gentler parent because I'm not in the complete gentle side. Complete gentle, they don't raise their voice to their kids. They don't say no. So yeah, some people don't say no to their kids. There's the gentle, like legit gentle. It's legit gentle. I'm not. The West Indian in me does not permit no yelling. Zero yelling. I can't do that. I cannot. I do make sure I try to be very careful with my words to her. Like I don't belittle her. I don't diminish her in any way. I don't curse her out. I mean, she's 3 years old. I don't have no need for that. We don't beat our daughter. We don't like take things and beat her with it. We don't spank her. We don't slap her. We don't do any of that stuff. I don't think that any of that is going to be necessary for us with her. I do use a stern voice at times. You guys might have heard it if we're in a Discord call. Let me talk to my mama, because back in the day, me and that belt was besties. Yeah. I feel like when you're starting, when they're very young, there are ways that you can train them and like raise them without having to go get a belt. You know, she's 3 years old. Like I know somebody that when their son, who was 3, peed the bed, her mom was telling her to beat him. And we're like, he's 3, you know, it's not like he knows better. Just find other ways to train him. That's what me and my husband do. We try and find other ways to you know, train her or raise her. But we're going to see what's in store. If you're watching this on YouTube, link is in the description box below. And let me know right now, before we get into this conversation, where do you sit? What side do you sit on? Are you gentle parenting, like all the way in gentle? Are you all the way in beat your child every time they sneeze, you know? Or are you in the middle, you know? Are you in the middle? I was bad back in the day, Elmio. That talk too much in class used to get me, oh, yikes. I'm absolutely against harsh whipping, especially with objects and belts. I can understand that. Got spanked once and that's all it took. Never misbehaved again. And I do feel like, for me, one of the reasons that I'm careful is that some people can discipline out of anger, and it becomes less about the lesson that you're trying to teach your child, and it can be more about you just beating out your frustration. And I've seen that, and I'm a result of that. You know, child abuse is no joke. So for me, I live in the gentler. And I say gentler because, you know, sometimes, like, if she's going to touch something I'm trying to tell her not to, I might flick her hand, but I'm not spanking her. I'm not beating her. Has anyone ever seen Christine get really mad? That's a story. That's a story that, you know, that's a story I don't think I could ever tell. I don't think I could ever tell. So let's get into this video. You took me to a moment. You did with that question. Okay.
As the child grows and as you as a parent train that child, then more freedom should be granted to make their own decisions.
But I don't think we should train our children. I feel like you train a dog and not a kid.
I think train is a good word.
I don't want to train child.
Okay. Well,
oh, do you mean so raised then? You know, I use the word train.
Child neglect after allowing their 2 kids to walk home alone from a park about a mile away.
How old were the kids?
I see a wide range within free range parenting, but parents that basically let their kids do whatever they want. And I see that as a recipe for disaster.
When I think of a strict parent, I think of someone who might be more concerned with the behavior of the child than the heart of the child.
I actually do consider myself strict, but I want to be emotionally conscious.
We've been told by this oppressive, safety-obsessed, terrified society that you can never let your kid do anything on their own, maybe till they're like 36.
it's a luxury to be a free-range parent because there is a certain privilege that goes with that.
Being a strict
There
parent,
is, yeah.
first of all, I imagine stress. Should be a really fun time of your life. Why follow all these rules when you want to enjoy your kids?
Okay, first thing that we have to do is, things are coming through. So first thing we need to define is free range parents, right? Because I feel like that's something that I don't know. So let me look at free range parenting definition. Okay. Because I want to know what are the laws set within this definition. All right, free range parenting isn't about being permissive or uninvolved. Instead, it's about allowing kids to have the freedom to experience it's about allowing kids to have the freedom to experience the natural consequences of their behavior when it's safe to do so. It's also about ensuring kids have the skills they need to become responsible adults. Okay, I need someone who's probably not a part of the thing about free range parenting is a concept of raising children in the spirit of encouraging them to function independently and with limited parental supervision. Limited? What is this? What is this word? what is this word? I don't. Basically treating them like adults? At what age do we do this thing that you say, person? The opposite of helicopter parenting? I'm in the middle. I mean, she's 3. I'm a watcher. I'm going to make sure she's not going to do anything that causes danger to her. Right? I mean, it does kind of sound like neglect. There are things that need to be put into perspective. Ages of these children. And then what are the specific things that we're doing to allow them to be free range versus watched? Imagine treating a 5-year-old like an adult. Pay these adult bills. Listen, if you working in these streets, you might as well pay them bills, bro. That's what I'd say, you know.
Hi, I'm Hal Chafee. I have 5 kids. I'm a minister, and we live in Maryland.
I'm Christian.
It looks like they're...
I am a birth and postpartum doula, as well as a newborn care specialist. I have one daughter who is 7.
Hi, I'm Jenny Atkins.
Yeah, let's
I
not
have
jump
2
to conclusions.
I'm a health coach, and I wrote a children's healthy cookbook.
My name's Wynn. I live in Los Angeles.
Wynn?
I have 1 child.
Oh, okay.
I'm a chef, restaurateur, author.
I'm
okay.
Jody, and I'm the CEO of the Mountain
8
House.
children?
And I have 8 children, and I'm from LA.
Hi to
8
everybody.
children.
I'm
Goodness.
Lenore Skenazy. I'm the mother of 2, and I founded the book, blog, and movement Free Range Kids. Surprise. I founded the Free Range Kids movement. I let my 9-year-old ride the subway in New York City by himself. I wrote a column, and 2 days later, I was on the Today Show, MSNBC, Fox News, and NPR, defending my parenting style.
9?
And I started Free Range Kids that weekend as a blog to say, look, I believe in safety.
I'm mad you said 8 kids. She would have lost me at 2. How was she alive? Wait. Okay, the vagina is very flexible, okay? So 8 children can pop out of there. Unless she did C-section. But then that would, I don't understand, 8 cuts? If she did 8 cuts, maybe it's a mix of both. Or, she could do vaginal births for all of them. It could be, the case. I don't, leave it, there could be some twins. There could be some twins too. 9-year-old riding the subway. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. 9 children, how's she not dead from the stress? That's a good question, because I got 1. Okay? I got 1. All right. If I had 7 more, y'all wouldn't see me. Y'all would not see me.
Don't think that we have to,
9-year-old
have a
is
security detail every time we let our kids
too
out
young.
of the house.
You don't. Okay, no. See, this is the thing. I hate when people jump to the other extreme. Don't miss me with all of that. You let your kid go out at 9 years old to the subway. You being with him is not a security detail. Do not act like you joining him would be a security detail. It's a completely different thing. Okay, it's one thing to be like, oh, you know, if you like, hey, I'm gonna call my if it was the mom, the dad, the grandpa, the auntie, and and a bunch of other kids to guide this child, then okay, right? But the fact that you could have went with them, you didn't. Your decision, right? But don't act like if you was with him, that's a security detail. It's called parenting, boo. Don't miss me with all that. Miss me completely with all that.
Free range parents on the left and my strict parents on the right.
Yeah, Google security detail. Put the definition in the chat.
Children should be trusted to make their own decisions.
That's way too general. That's way too general.
Of course, children should make their own decisions. I mean, we're trying to raise
She
them
can choose like
to be responsible adults.
her clothes and
They
maybe the
don't
food
make
she eats.
Decisions they never learn.
When my child is possibly going to make a bad decision, what I want to do is not tell him it's a bad decision. I think that's the wrong thing to do because then ultimately he's probably going to reject that anyway.
Also, it depends on what we're talking about decisions about.
Right,
like
right.
If it's
Thank you.
bedtime and you want your kids to be in bed at 8 o'clock, I think that is up to you. But I remember a time my son called me, he was 10 at the time, and he said, Mom, can I have another piece of banana bread? And I thought, I felt bad because, of course, that's a very simple decision. They expected that I was the one to decide almost everything about what they were eating and doing, and I felt like there was something wrong. And that actually started me reevaluating things. And can they climb the tree? Just let them climb the tree.
I don't. Okay. Let's look at this this definition, because it's the extremes that she's living in. That doesn't make me subscribe to her, movement, because I would say, like, if, like, let's say your child could not make any decisions, right? Then I'd be like, oh crap. Like, if my daughter couldn't make any decisions for herself, then yes, I would feel apprehensive. Like, okay, maybe I'm pushing so many things on her that she doesn't know how to make a single decision. But if he's asking for banana bread, like if he can have some banana bread, he's asking for permission because he wants to make sure it's okay that he can have this extra piece of banana bread. I find zero problems with that. I would rather that my kid ask me, hey, can I have some banana bread, versus them just eat the banana bread and me wanting that banana bread. And now the banana bread is gone. Say banana bread like 5 times fast and let me know what you come up with. But like, I feel like to be like, hey, oh my goodness, I need to rethink my life because he asked me if he could have some banana bread. That doesn't make me want to sign up for this movement at all. Okay, security detail is a protective team assigned to protect the personal security of an individual or group. It can be made up of multiple federal and state government or organizations, or, well, yeah, we know that it could be the military or Secret Service or things like that, like or private military, mercenaries. It could be anything like that. But it's just like the description she gave was such an extreme opposite versus, just being with them. I don't feel like they need a security detail, but a parent, let's there's space in the middle of this. We just jumped all the way to one side. There's space in the middle. Okay. Yeah, I think he just means he has manners. I think he was just asking. I think she was exaggerating in the moment, but it was definitely a lot. Like, I feel like he was just asking if he could have a piece of bread. Like, if he couldn't decide, like, if you're like, hey, what do you want to wear? And he can't decide what he wants to wear. He can't decide what he wants to eat. He can't decide whether he wants to go here or go there. He can't decide anything. Then I'd be like, okay, we need to allow and give him space to make the decisions, because eventually it's starting here and it's going to grow to something bigger. But if he's asking for some banana bread, just tell him yes and no and give him the banana bread. Just call it a day. All right, let's go to sleep. Let's go to sleep.
And what's the worst that can happen? They break an arm? Oh, well.
I would rather my child.
Well, for my kids.
Hold on. Did she say falling out of a tree, the worst that can happen is that they break an arm? No, the worst that can happen is that they could fall on the worst that can happen is that they fall on their head and die, or they fall on their neck and are paralyzed from the neck down. So there are worse things than breaking an arm. Okay? Let's just remember that.
Specifically, she can go outside and play after school, and she can draw, and she can do whatever, but there is a very healthy boundary. Like, we don't have the type of health care that most people have. So, like, no, you can't climb the tree. If it's like, oh, I don't want to play violin anymore, but it's like, you're not allowed to quit things that you start, because even as an adult, you become a flaky adult.
Well, you see so many parents nowadays who just, like, bend to every whim of their child. Children should be trusted to make their own decisions when it is wise for them to make their own decisions. You know, I'm not going to let my 5-year-old decide that he's not going to brush his teeth anymore because he doesn't. You know, as the child grows and as you as a parent train that child, then more freedom should be granted.
I do want to pause this really quick because I feel like Christian came on a very big point, and this was kind of leading into her point when she was first initially in this, when she was saying that the free range, there's an amount of privilege that comes with that, and the aspect of, hey, I don't really have the proper health care to take care of you if you do hurt yourself. And if you do hurt yourself, the hospitals in the area may not be the best places to take care of you. So I'm going to make sure that you don't hurt yourself because we're not in an opportune place for that. Whereas the lady was like, worst that can happen, he'd break his arm. It's nothing. It's probably nothing for her to pay whatever she has to pay to make sure his arm is fixed or set or whatever, you know? So I think that is something that we do have to keep in mind as well.
I think we should train our children. I feel like you train a dog and not a kid.
I think train is a good word.
I don't want a trained child.
Okay, well, I do.
I want a child who has
to be trained, to be
and who's
respectful.
maybe not like me.
You know, yeah, I'm not saying it has to be like me.
Do you think you need to train them to be respectful, or do you think that you guide them in a way to learn to be respectful?
I think she's too hung up on the very specific word train. I think this is a situation where he's just trying to say, because I said the word train as well, right? But raise would be a better word, I guess you can say. But she's way too, that did something for her. That definitely turned on a light for her. And when she's like, I don't want to train a dog. I want him to be free and creative. He can still be all those things. What he's saying doesn't take away from that. He's just saying, you know, he used the word train. He said, I think that should be a fine word. You know, I think she's too.
Decisions they've chosen.
Both.
So what would you consider your parenting?
Hydrate, okay.
I try to be as biblical as I can when it comes to parenting. I know a lot of people would disagree on that, but I have 5 kids and I do my best to follow it, and I found so much wisdom.
5 kids.
Worked.
I don't really follow rules. Even if it's a theory of free-range parenting per se, if you're following those free-range parenting rules, then you become strict. And I don't think that there should be rules. It should be whatever the day.
What did this lady just say to me? Because free-range parenting says it's the concept of raising your child in the spirit of encouraging them to function independently and with limited parental supervision. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to disregard whatever she says from now on. And, you know, not to be disrespectful, but it's the aspect of the act of free range is to allow your kids to function independently with limited parental supervision. So if you're like, hey, I'm not going to follow the rules of free range parenting and therefore will do more than limited parental supervision, then you are not a free range parent. You're kind of dipping more into that strict side if you're doing more of the supervision and stuff like that. So your argument has just fallen apart. It's all gone now.
Day brings.
Kids deserve
No?
privacy.
Again, it depends. I feel like it depends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
There we go. Oh wait, we have a straggler.
Even though they're not adults, they're still people, and they need time to either
It depends.
their thoughts or process things, or just they need a sense of comfort and solitude and things that are sacred to them.
So I don't have any teenagers yet. There's no way.
Just wait.
There's no way.
Maybe my opinion will change.
I mean, there's no way that I'm not going to have access to their cell phone. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want time alone,
Yeah, the questions are
that's
vague.
fine, and they should have that, and it's healthy to do that. The reason I hesitated is because I think back to my childhood. There were things that happened sometimes that can last with you for the rest of your life. People can be abused online now. So when I have that parent spidey sense of something's not right here, my kid's going to be like, no, you can't have my cell phone. Yes, I can.
In our household, we live by this kind of thought. Live your life in such a way that if everyone could see what you're doing in private, that you wouldn't be ashamed. So so my kids also look through my phone. Privacy is not something a child should be entitled to have. Do we give our kids quiet downtime? Yes.
Okay, I feel like so the issue you can run into is like now you have, it seems like your kids may not be, okay, I'm not gonna talk about her and her kids, right? But the issue I have with that, right, the concern that I have is that if someone is too open, where they don't have any privacy and you don't set those type of boundaries, that the kids that are learning that may have difficulty setting and respecting boundaries. When somebody puts a healthy boundary of when they need privacy, I feel like people in that range may have difficulty respecting those boundaries or even setting their own boundaries, and then could end up in situations where they don't know how to set boundaries, and then people are constantly stepping on their toes and stuff like that. And it's, I feel like that can be a huge mess. So, I think that you should, yes, allow your kids. It depends on the age, right? My 3-year-old doesn't need privacy right now because the curiosity is through the roof and we don't know what's going to happen, right? But like, if it's a situation where she's older and she's like, oh, she wants some time to herself in her room, that's fine. That's okay. If it's like, if she, when she becomes a teenager and she has a phone, I'm not gonna snoop through her phone, I'll check in and try to make sure we have healthy dialogue and conversation, so that way I know as much as she, hopefully she'll feel comfortable telling me anything. That's what I want. But you can't be too free where you like, hey, no privacy at all. Nobody got no privacy, because that's not how the world is. That is not how the world is. I'm a firm believer that kids don't need to know grown folk business. Truth. Okay. Yeah, she better not have nobody sliding into her DMs, because the kids gonna know everything and they gonna tell daddy, because there ain't no privacy. Ain't no privacy. So if she like Kaylani, she just, bootied out because there's nothing she can do about it. Her kid's gonna tell her daddy. There's a lot of kids that go on their parents' phone to play games, take selfies. I highly doubt she means they're going through text or emails. I mean, right now they're not, but because she was saying that they don't have that privacy where, as they get older, they would probably go through her phone. And she said, I live my life where if people saw what I was privately doing, then it wouldn't be an issue. So I think she allows them to go through those things. Even if right now they're not doing it, they will later. Kids are curious. People are curious. If someone just handed you their phone and was like, hey, you could go through my phone, right? The first time you might think it's a test, but if they're constantly letting you do it, you're going through everything. I'm going through everything, okay? Everything. I'm gonna know everything. If it's repeated. First time, I'll be like, no, I'm good, I'm okay. But after that, I need to know.
Am I looking through all their stuff? No.
I actually agree with the definition of downtime and privacy. At my house, there's no privacy because you don't pay any bills. She also trusts me, and I've wanted to make a relationship to where she trusts me that even if she came to tell me, like, there's no yell, I don't yell and I don't scream and I don't do any things like that. We're very open, but there is no privacy.
So I just wanted to put in a plea, though, for some privacy. I go around and I talk about free-range kids, and sometimes what I ask the audience is to tell me when something did go wrong. And I asked them, did you tell your parents? What do you think they said? No. Why do you think they said it? Fear of what?
Being in trouble,
You think it's trouble.
It's like she's having a class.
They want their freedom taken away.
I think it's important, though, that we hold our children accountable, because in the world, there are plenty of adults who are not held accountable, who've never been held accountable, and they do things that are terrible.
But most of childhood is little things, and you don't have to be there for everyone, because that's when kids start realizing, I can handle this.
For some little things. Hold on. She says little things, but then she had a 9-year-old on the subway. I am confused. Shout out to Miss G Waffles. I didn't know you streamed on Twitch. Sending positive vibes. Thank you. I don't want to hear from you when you got your son riding the train by yourself. There's, next thing you know, they're in the dark web paying for who knows what. I wouldn't lead to that extreme, right? That they, like, kids would be on the, because I mean, a lot of times it's young adults on the dark web when they have their own apartment, right? And then or even if they live with their parents, but they're like of college age, jumping on the dark web, which at that age, I'm not going to control anything you're doing. But if you in my house, I'm not going to go you still gonna have your privacy and stuff, but you ain't going to just live here and do nothing. No. Okay. She must not have gang members in her neighborhood. Yeah, she doesn't. Clearly, if she's like, hey, you can ride the subway at 9 years old in New York City. You know, she just living a life. She has the privilege to allow her son to, you know, although it's New York City, so is that really a privilege? I don't think that is. I don't think that that's a privilege. The breaking the arm thing is a privilege. Letting your kid ride the train at 9, I don't think that's a privilege, not in New York City.
Privilege, the ability to just do things without any repercussions or consequences. As a Black person or a person of color, we sometimes just don't have the privilege to allow our children to be free range. Although I would love for her to be free spirit and just do and be, she can't because
the world doesn't allow her.
In the street.
Parents should be parents and not friends.
100%. Although I will say, my daughter will say to me, oh, mommy, you're my best friend. And I'll be like, yes, I am, baby. Yes, I am. Because I do want her to find friendship in me, but this is not the type of friendship where we're on an equal level at all. I'm your mother. I'm your caretaker. I'm your provider. I'm your protector. So those things will come first. But she's 3. You know, who knows? In 5 years, she'll probably be like, Mom, can you please stop talking to me? Mommy, why are you touching me? She might try to say that stuff, you know, jokingly, because she ain't going to disrespect me like that. But, you know.
This is actually hard for me. My job is not to be my kid's friend, it's to be their parent. But I don't think that is mutually exclusive of not being their friend either, if that makes any sense. But I prioritize, right, being the parent unit.
Same.
To my mom, I would say that she's my best friend. But like as a child, she was my mom, and I hope to have that type of relationship with my daughter. But right now, I'm the parent and you're the child because I don't want you to lose respect for me. Like I'm not gonna go clubbing with my daughter. Like there's just some things that I'm just not gonna do that I do with my friends that I'm not gonna do with my kid.
Yeah, true.
I agree that I'm their mom first, but I'm also their friend. I'm also someone that they trust and admire.
This is not disrespectful. I really want to say that. I want to preface my statement that I'm about to say with this is not to be disrespectful. But I totally was expecting somebody named Jody to be a free range parent. Seeing the name Jody, I was like, you look like a Jody. Yes, this is like a Jody would be a free range parent. Faux show, hands down. That's exactly the name I would think of a free range parent. Faux show. Remember, not disrespect, just the natural way that I would think that would go. That's where I thought that would go. So my mama seen me have one drink and I was an alcoholic to everybody. Oh, goodness. Oh, is she West Indian? Because that's how West Indians roll. Okay. That is how they roll, boo.
Come to, and I listen to them and I give them my opinions, and we have forged a friendship, but it's not without my position as the authority in their life, their provider, their comfort, their mama.
In my mind, once my kids are 18 or
and Jenny
moved out of the house, they are an adult. And at that point, I want to stop parenting. If I haven't parented enough by the time they're 18, then that was my chance. I don't want to be a parent after 18. And when it comes to clubbing, I hope that when my kid is old and grown up and they're going out for a beer at a bar or whatever they're doing, of course I want to come with them.
But here's the thing, I just want to say on the other side of that is that we never stop growing up. I mean, man, I don't have parents. I wish I did. There's some times where I wish I could just ask for help. I mean, my grandmother just passed away in May.
Oh,
and
my condolences.
I remember, just feeling like, what am I gonna do? And that was not a friend moment. That was me hiding like a little child on her lap, weeping and crying, needing that.
You
I
are
don't
going
want
to do
that.
that. No, you're going to do that.
If
your kid comes to you, I'm sure you will.
I guess
Yes.
I just want this,
Right.
I want them to be very independent.
Right. But
Well,
she's
that
very
comes with age.
She's super
Yeah,
independent.
for sure.
With your own mother, do you have a mother? And if you do you ever just need your mama sometimes?
Yeah.
Not really.
You don't need to like
No.
get hugged or have like
I
the
speak
love
to
and
her like
comfort.
she's my friend
Okay.
now.
Do you
And I
hug
think I
her?
spoke to her as my friend when I was growing up as well, because she didn't parent. I had no rules.
And that explains a lot. When you talk about your philosophy, it's really a first.
It was it was ingrained
of us are like
in you.
Exploring how we might want to parent.
Right, but we all raise our children probably according to a little bit of how we were raised.
What we know,
True.
what we wished had been different,
Yeah.
and then there's so many
That's where I am.
societal influences.
I will say, like, okay, with this situation, I mean, it's like being on a balance board, right? Hey, Megan, I would want that, like, when my daughter is older, it sounds like I had more. I only have one. When she's older, and we're older and she wants to go to the club with me, then yeah, I'll go to the club with her. If I'm feeling like I want to dance, does she want to go to the club? Yeah, I would go older when she's older. Okay. If she's like of drinking age and she wants to go to a bar and get a drink with me, I'll do that with her. Maybe not a bar. If they smoke at the bar, I can't do that. But if it's a non-smoking bar, yeah, I'll do that. I'll join her, right? And hang out with her. But I will still be her mother. I would hang out with my daughter and have fun with my daughter. And the thing with like island people, they're still close with their family. A lot of times island people still live in their house until they get married, right? It's like the normal thing. So being an adult in the house with your mom or with your parents is a normal thing and for our culture. And so having like it has definitely been a huge American concept to kick your kid out when they're 18 and just send them out. Kids would go to college, but when they come back, they would live in the house until they until they got married normally. Not even, a lot of the times they don't buy their own house until they get married, and that's not to say that people who get independent before then is bad or wrong or whatever, or anything like that. This is not to judge that, but it's to kind of put into perspective that I would still be her mother. And like this lady was saying about how she wanted her mother, she needed her mother, right? I still want my daughter to look at me as a safe space for her. That's what I am now, and I want to forever be that. I want to be someone that she can turn to when she needs help, like she always, when she wants a hug, anything, a kiss, I got you. I will always be there for you. And if you want to hang out, I got you too, You're turning 20 in April and you're still close with your mom. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely an island thing.
Growing up without the security of knowing who I was and knowing that I was dearly loved and cherished by my mother and father was soul crushing for me.
Oh.
As a mother, I have the opportunity to raise up a new generation of healthy, whole individuals who are able to go forth.
Is this the one that has 8
create
kids?
New families of their own and be a light in this world. And
I bet she loves them with everything. She puts all of her heart into her kids.
Child is an acceptable form of punishment.
What? I don't want to get involved at all.
He's like, oh, they don't even want to have the conversation.
I don't even want to stand back here.
We don't have to, you guys don't have to participate in the conversation whatsoever.
But is it going to show our position, like standing back or sitting?
We do see you guys in the background, but we just want to hear his perspective.
Mm.
People can walk forward, but if you don't want to participate in the conversation whatsoever, you don't have to.
Wow,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm kind of saddened that nobody else walked forward, because not only do I think it's an acceptable form of punishment, but I think it's one of the best. And the reason is because it's effective, it's quick, it's over, it's done, and the kid can go off and play again and not have to sit in a corner or languish in a room or something like that. And it's not about getting angry, I'm mad, I'm gonna whack my kid. No, it's about, okay, you did something you weren't supposed to do, and you're going to get spanked for this.
Okay. I agree with the not doing it out of anger thing, but this man said the best way. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's the best thing. That is corporal punishment, beating your kids. But my thing is, though, like, if you're like, oh, it's quick, is it really effective? Are you just going like, pow pow and then like making the sounds with your mouth but not even making contact, and you're like, okay, that counts. Like, is it really effective if you're like, it seems like he just wants something quick and easy. He said, I guess he looks at it as torture for the kids to like languish in a corner. But I mean, I would rather that than striking the child out of anger. And he said not out of anger. So I don't understand. No, I understand why people would beat people, right? However, psychologically, it could be very damning on someone to be beaten. But for him to say it's the best way and it's quick, it's easy, and then they go out to play, I don't know what kind of beatings he's giving, because the type of beatings I wasn't going out to no play outside right after. You was like, you're in the corner, you like maybe icing your butt cheeks, like you icing your arms welts. I mean, I was abused, so we're not going to use me as the poster child for this, but like, yeah, we was sitting in the house crying. Put a show of hands down below right now of people that was like, okay, I went out to play right after. You cry so much, you go to bed and wake up the next day. Boo. Hello. That's how my beatings were. You cried yourself to sleep. I did not have sleeping troubles when I was a kid. Quick and easy sounds like you trying to train a puppy. Yeah, that does go back to his word of training, which I don't hate the word training, but it's I wasn't playing afterwards. I wasn't. Shout out to Chicken Nugget King for the follow. Mothra X, Visions of Kevin. This is Lasagna. Lasagna, I got you. Jalen the Gamer, King Pat, Silent Acoustic, and OT. Okay, Oat Todd Goat. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you all for the follow. But yeah, the quick and easy part, I feel like you ain't really beating them, you know? Not saying he should, but I mean, if they out like, oh, they quick and easy and they go out to play. Yeah, after my grandma whipped my butt with that helmet, I was not playing. Yeah, boo. Who got time to play after that?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask any of my disagreeers who wish to step forward to talk about this, please do. If you wish not to step forward, you don't have to.
Yeah, she had to make that clear because she didn't want anybody like. I do appreciate them taking
my child is one time, like, you know, as a parent,
the stance and not joining.
And that happens. We would just kind of like slap him on the hand when he did something, like, don't do that. And I remember one time he did something and he started becoming more self-aware, and he started hitting himself on the hand and hitting himself.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, I can't do this. We can't go down this path with him. This is not going to work for, at least specifically for him. And I think it's a case-by-case basis too. Like, you know, you've led your kids in a way that hopefully he doesn't lash out into the real world. I don't want him to react like that to someone else either. And I feel like that's my responsibility.
Yikes.
So.
Yeah, and you know, I hear that opponents to spanking will say, I don't want my child to be violent.
Yeah.
You know, I have 5 kids, 10 and under, and the exact opposite is true.
Because
I don't
it's
think
a bad
that-
memory for them.
What's that?
Do you think that they're going to have memories of these times being spanked, and that it will be
Sure, and I think
something
they'll
that
be
they...
Thankful? Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I think that I don't agree that being beat will make you violent. Being abused can make you violent, right? I think you are more susceptible to being an abusive parent or being an abusive person if you were abused, because hurt people, right? I don't believe that being spanked means that you are going to be an abusive person or that you're going to be an abusive person to other people, right? I think there's a difference between spanked and abusive. However, I don't know how thankful someone's gonna be about getting beat, like when they become older and is like, hey, I thank you, Dad, for spanking me when you did. I don't think that's you know what I withhold that judgment, because the way he spanks them, apparently they go outside and play, so maybe they will thank him. You know, we just gonna put his on the table, because they go outside and play afterwards. It's done. So maybe they will be thankful. You know, they got to play after. Destiny says, I used to get spanked for not doing homework. I grew up and graduated college with barely doing homework. That really taught me. I will say that it is like, I know a lot of people, you know, these people in school, they used to get beat all the time, right? Constantly get beat. And they just took that ish. I don't really truly believe that beating is the way or even the best way to raise your child and for them to teach, for you to teach them how they should be or who they should be. I know a lot of kids that would just get used to it and then they would just keep carrying on doing what they do and know they're going to get beat because they just could eat it. They was like, I can eat this now. I'm used to this now. It did the opposite for them. It didn't really help them, you know? Goodness. I used to get whipped after that. I went on with my day. That's how his kids. That's so good. It's good. Are you talking about, is that real? Or are you just talking about this guy? I don't know a single person who got whipped and it changed anything besides their relationship with their parents. Amen. They're only thankful for the increase in their pain tolerance. That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got beat for homework and barely did your homework. I don't know if it's as great of a teacher as, you know, some parents think, you know.
Thankful for it.
Thankful.
Because
That's just.
I would be lying if I said I never have spanked my child. Of course but I don't feel good about it. Yeah. Don't you want to raise your child to not want to do things because they feel as if they'll be a better person, not because they're going to be punished for it?
Yeah, both. Mm. See, this is hard for me to understand because I come from a culture where
I do feel like
everyone, like all my friends have loving parents that spank them as kids. And now they've grown up to be great well-functional adults who respect their parents. And are glad their parents spank.
That does happen a lot. Okay, a lot of us were spanked.
Say my view. Mm-hmm. So I don't spank my child, one, because of chattel slavery and Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. I'm a black person and I live in a world where black people are
She lives in the South
all the time. I have a mother who spanked me. I'm not glad that I was spanked. I respect her, but I'm not happy about that. Also the same thing with the people who are like, I was spanked, I came out great. They usually have like anger issues, they're violent, they whoop their own kids, they probably need therapy. Usually they don't even realize how emotionally fucked up they are.
Well, you gotta understand, parenting is more.
I don't agree. I don't feel like, so there's a difference between spanking and abuse, right? And I don't feel like everyone that gets a spanking will be a violent person, right? But I do feel like the thing that's being glossed over is discipline. I do feel like you can discipline your child without having to grab something to beat them with, right? But I do think discipline is necessary in raising your children. If we're being honest, I don't think there's a correct way to raise a child just because some parents don't know how to be parents because their parents didn't show them the correct way. However, there are effective ways to raise your children. I would agree with it's tough to go on off of how you were raised, right? Unless you are a sound person that knows your weaknesses, your flaws, and knows your greatnesses. I think those people can maybe look at evaluate the parents and how their parents were and see what they want to take from that. Because I know a lot of people who were really bad parents, really, really bad parents. And I think at the end of the day, you have to do the best that you can, right? And to raise your individual, because once your kid gets to be an adult, you have created what they become and what they do in the world. It is all on you. And so I do feel like we do need to find a way to, and that's what me and my husband, I've explained my childhood, he's explained his, and we have navigated these waters where my daughter will not have the same childhood I had. She would not feel certain ways for her parents like I felt for mine because of what I went through. I personally do not feel like there has to be a beating type of thing. And I don't take it to slavery or Jim Crow or anything like that. And black people do get beat a lot of times. but it's more so taking from the personalization of what I went through. Is there a better way to discipline her outside of taking something and hitting her with it, or using my hand and hitting her butt in a spanking manner, you know? That's how I look at it.
More than just I spank or I don't spank. If you're a terrible parent and you think that spanking is going to fix your kid, you're wrong.
That's true. Spanking's not a band-aid for terrible parenting.
I'm raising my children the wrong way.
Oh, every parent goes through that. Every parent goes through that. Yeah.
I think
It's a natural thing.
parenting is always worrying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as hard as I try
Are you
to
doing
do
it
the
right?
right things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's always doubts in your mind that you've done something wrong.
I love to tell parents, especially new ones, that we're all winging it.
Mm-hmm.
We're making mistakes every day, but the good
You
thing
will
about
always
it
make
is that our
mistakes.
kids
You will.
still love us.
Mhm.
They still look at us like
You just have to learn from them.
mommy, and their
Or
eyes
friend. Right. Club buddy.
Right. So like parenting is literally just like one huge ass experiment.
That's a nice expression.
You know,
Parenting is one huge ass experiment. Right. People think that I have the answer because I wrote Free Range Kids and I run this Let Grow, and all I can say is that believing in your kids, you know, believing in them, whether you give them a timeout or you're spanking them, believing that your kids have this capacity for being a decent human being, and they're going to make mistakes, they're going to be okay. That's what kids want.
Yeah, I think that
So,
we all
first
make
of all,
mistakes.
I think that parents are too hard on themselves, and
True.
you know what? Ultimately,
That's
your
true.
children going to make their own decisions. For me, I don't wonder about whether or not I'm raising my kids right, because I try to raise my kids according to what the Bible says, and so I have a guide that I fall short fulfilling all the time, but I look to
Okay.
it as my guide.
He's
So
letting him know
just
that
a
he's
few
not
simple
perfect.
guidelines, if you follow and you love your kids, you care about them, and you spend time with them, then ultimately they're going to be okay.
I just love my kids so much, and I give them 110%. One of the neat things that I'm giving my kids, it's a little bit.
I would have to say that I believe her because of the fact that the pain that she felt, or still feels honestly, from not having parents. Like I said, I feel like she the one with 8 kids, all 8 of her kids, she puts her heart in all 8 of them kids, faux show, because of the way that not having parents affected her. She definitely pours that love. She does the opposite, where all that love that she wanted to receive from her parents, she makes sure her kids feel, for sure. Yeah.
Different is a mother and father who are married and faithful to one another, which I didn't have that. And so it makes me feel really good that I'm giving them that. I know that I'll never just be totally set in my ways and be unwilling to change and to become a better mother. So I will never give up.
She wants to be
growing
open-minded for
myself.
them.
The one piece of parenting advice I give everyone is don't listen to all the advice, because the beautiful thing about parenting is not what you're teaching your child, but sometimes what you're learning with your child.
I think we all just want the same thing.
I will say it is a learning curve. It is a learning curve. Like learning, you know, and this is going to sound like crazy, but like sometimes I'll say, this has happened a lot, right? And it happens less now, right? Because I understand now. But like, there'll be times where I would tell her to do something and I'd be like, you know, just do it. And she's just looking at me. I'm like, just do it. And I had to take a step back and realize that she doesn't know how to do it. And I remember so many parents being upset when they tell their kid something and they feel like their kid isn't listening, but it's more so that the kid doesn't understand that you have to try to find a different way. And that's the learning curve. What's a different way that I can say it to her for her to understand what it is I mean? You don't want to overcomplicate it with saying way too many things. You want to just be straight and to the point in the simplest way possible, so that way she can learn what it is you're trying to say and what message you're trying to convey to her. So that way, you know, she knows what it is that you want her to do. And I do completely agree with him that it is like a learning thing. You're learning with your kid. You're learning how to be a parent as you're teaching them at the same time.
Everybody wants their children to be confident and secure in their love.
It's just a lot of
That's
fun
true.
to have kids, and I always tell people, I said, if you want to be a happier person, have more kids, because kids are just so much fun.
Oh, he enjoys it, especially the way that he raised his kids, because they get beat and they go out to play. There's a lot happening with him and his kids. But I want to say that I do feel like there were some good statements here. You know, I do feel like Jenny was coming from the, you know, when somebody's talking through their trauma, right? That they may not be able to truly hear what you're trying to say to them because they've got their own, lens that they're really looking through, and they're having difficulty taking it off. I think that's where she's kind of living. I don't agree with more children equals happiness. I don't agree with that but I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong, or what he's saying, you know, is, you know, I'm not coming against whatever he's saying. That's what's happier for him, right? I would like another child, but I don't know if I can do 5. 5 children, 5 of them. You know, it'd be crazy if I get pregnant and I end up with like 4 freaking kids at one time. I would, Lord God help me. Lord Jesus, just, you know, send your girl some help. But I think that at the end of the day, we have to do the best that we can, and we got to try to find a way to navigate and create this beautiful person and help them have a life. Because one of the things I constantly think of is how the things that I'm doing to her now affect her in the future. And yes, that could be me being hard on myself, but I do try to calm that down and be more in the mindset of how do I say this to her so she learns but doesn't have a trauma from this, right? Because I have a lot of childhood trauma that affects me to this day. It is to this day issues that are not only mental but becomes physical in a physical form for me. So it's, you know, I don't want her to go through that. This was definitely a pretty healthy debate, for sure. Let me know down below, where do you stand? You know, are you free range? Are you strict? Are you in the middle? And after hearing the conversations, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I would love to hear what everybody's got to say, for sure. 5 baby AYs? I hope not. I am childless. No, but like, you know, where would you, what stance do you agree with? You know, do you agree with free range? Do you agree with strict? Are you in the middle? No, I also am childless. What is happening here? I am childless. I am also childless. If I become a mom, I'm taking into account that these are individuals and being mindful of that as I'm parenting, and acknowledge that they are going to make mistakes, and they're learning as well. Very, very true. Very true. There's always a healthy medium for freedom and discipline for raising kids. Kids understand more than most people think. Very, very true. But on the flip side of the coin, they don't know everything. Also very, very true. They know a lot, but don't know anything at the same time. They're learning, and they are sponges. They are legit sponges. They take in everything. Remember that.